What's going on YouTube? Welcome to a killer tutorial for Dead by Daylight. Once you complete the primary tutorial, you'll be faced with a screen like this. On the bottom left, you have your options, the Tome tab, which is the lore, your Friends tab, your inbox, your player stats access, and the intro for the current chapter. In the top right, you'll find blood points, which are the basic currency you achieve after completing a trial, iridescent shards, which are earned for free and used as a form of secondary premium currency, and then auric cells, which are the premium currency, the base premium currency, that is. They are used to purchase characters of both licensed and non-licensed origin. Let's go ahead and click play. Once you click play, you'll see the Killer tab, Survivor, Learn to Play, which I highly suggest you do if you haven't done yet, and Custom Game. We're going to focus on the Killer role today. Now, at the top left, you have the Characters tab, which allows you to select from all killers you own and also purchase killers you don't. Killers can be purchased with auric cells or iridescent shards, same with survivors. Every killer has their own individual power and their own 3 individual perks, which is why I highly recommend you purchase the artist first because she has 2 very good perks. Her first 2 perks are Grim Embrace and Pain Resonance. Both are very good in many different perk loadouts. And then I also recommend you purchase the Deathslinger for his perk Dead Man's Switch. I'll go ahead and put the perks on screen and then talk more about them in the gameplay footage. I also recommend you invest some blood points into the Hillbilly for his perk Enduring, which you can then pair with the Spirit's Spirit Fury. I know this may seem like a lot of information all at once, but don't worry. Stay calm. I'll make sure to keep this as simple and basic as I possibly can, and during the gameplay footage, I'll help explain all of these perks, killer powers, and add-ons in which I'll be using. I do wish to point out, though, older killers, such as the Skull Merchant, cost a severely less amount of iridescent shards, and they also cost less auric cells overall. Today we're going to be focusing on these perk synergies with the base killer Trapper. As you can see, you can search up the killer's name in the search bar to find their perks, or you can search up the perk names themselves. We're going to be running Pain Resonance, Dead Man's Switch, Enduring, and Spirit Fury. One important thing to know is that every single killer in this game has their own individual add-ons. These add-ons can change their power either significantly or give minor stat buffs. In this instance, I'm going to be using the Bloody Coil, which makes it so when a survivor disarms a bear trap, they'll become injured. I will also be using fastening tools, which will allow me to place my traps faster and make it so survivors have a harder time getting out of them. Here is the offering page. And similarly, due to add-ons, I won't be going over every single one, but the majority of these offerings ultimately give slight to medium to high blood point boosts, or will increase the chances of going to a particular map, or ultimately influence the spawns of certain items or things within a trial. And here is the Bloodweb. The Bloodweb is where you spend your blood points to purchase add-ons, offerings, and perks entirely for free. Because as stated before, you earn these by simply playing the game. Now, the way perks work, when you get a survivor or a killer to what many people call P1, which is an abbreviation for Prestige 1, which you'll see me do here. When you get them to Prestige 1, all 3 of their perks become available to every single survivor, if it's a survivor, or killer, if it's a killer. And here we have daily challenges, Rift Pass, and milestone challenges, as well as the Event Chaos Shuffle Challenge. All of these can be done to earn limited time rewards, such as blood points, Rift Pass stuff, which I don't really care about. But here's the Shrine of Secrets. The Shrine of Secrets is extremely important because it gives free-to-play players a way to purchase and obtain certain perks from certain characters without spending real-life money to unlock these perks. And last but not least, you have the store, in which you can purchase killers, survivors, you can purchase cosmetics for killers and survivors as well. As you can see, you can purchase cosmetic sets with iridescent shards, but as you can see, 21,600 is quite a lot. And over the many years I've played this game, I don't think I have ever genuinely saved up that many iridescent shards to purchase any kind of cosmetic set. Sure, it's possible if you're a die-hard player, but me personally, I would highly recommend you use those iridescent shards to purchase either survivors or killers. And with all that being said, let's get into our first game. Alrighty, so we found our lobby. Now normally, the 4 survivors you would be put against would have their name showing above their head, but I have a setting to disable that. And it's very important to look at the items in which they have in their hands, because it will basically give you a hint at how they're going to play. Alrighty, here we go. Midwich Elementary School. This map isn't too bad for the Trapper. Inside maps are typically actually pretty good for him. Now, the first thing I'm doing is I'm looking around at the generator layout, trying to find a suitable spot to hold up. I'm going to go ahead and place this trap here to remove a route of escape for the survivors. When playing the Trapper, you really want to focus on getting rid of these escape routes for the survivors. Now, I'm about to make a very big mistake right here because I instinctively see the bright colors and kick the wall. But what I should have done is actually go to the opening right here and place the trap there. Remember, guys, think smarter, do not work harder. Alright. We're going to go ahead and chase this Kate. Now, this Kate is doing something called looping. Essentially, she's just trying to waste as much of my time as she possibly can before breaking that path. But, because I placed the trap on the stairway, she can't get up there. Already, me cutting off a route of escape is paying off very well. Now, what I'm looking for is a white hook. The white hook represents a Scourge hook. The Scourge hook for the perk I have represents Pain Resonance. Now, what Pain Resonance does is it ultimately destroys a generator, I believe 20% of their progress, and Dead Man's Switch, when I hook a survivor, will activate, and the next time a survivor lets go of a generator, it will be blocked for 35 seconds. Now, because Pain Resonance blows up a generator, any survivor working on it ultimately lets go of the generator, which is why these two perks work very well. The Meg just tried to mind game me there, but because I kicked 2 pallets, my Spirit Fury worked. Now, she managed to get a really good head start because she has a perk that allows her to gain a slight speed boost after stunning the killer. The Kate off hook went ahead and body blocked, buying her Meg some time. But I'm too smart for the Meg, and I used what's called the Terror Radius, or not the Terror Radius, the Red Stain, rather, oops, to confuse the Meg into basically falling into a form of reverse psychology. This is what's known as mind gaming in Dead by Daylight. Both survivors and killers do this quite a bit in upper levels of gameplay. As the Trapper, you almost always want to have at least one trap on you at all times because they come in very useful during chases. Any gen with progress is not a good gen. I hear the Kate injured. The Kate got too cocky. I'm going to go ahead and place the trap here in the doorway to make sure that the other Kate can't get a pallet save. Now, a pallet save is when a survivor notices you are picking up a survivor directly under a pallet. And if they wait enough, they can ultimately get a pallet save, knocking their teammate off of your shoulders. Keep in mind, Pain Resonance, that perk on the bottom there, with the 2 little tokens at the bottom right, it starts with 4 tokens, 1 token for each survivor. I went ahead and placed my trap there on the window so she can't use it. And although I did break that wall earlier, that trap really didn't come into play because if I would have just kept it there, I would have gotten her down either way. Now right here I'm looking for a white hook, which represents a Scourge hook. But unfortunately, due to RNG, random number generator, I cannot get to one in time, so I ultimately just throw her on a regular hook, which, if I didn't have Dead Man Switch, would activate that perk. I'm going to go ahead and place a trap on the outside of the pallet here by the stairway because it has now become a dead zone, meaning any survivor that tries to run to that pallet and use it will either have to A, disarm the trap and injure themselves, or B, run into it, or C, run away and I'll probably get an injure or down them. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and place my trap right here in this window. Deny them access to using it. The good thing about the trapper too, especially on indoor maps, he just activated Dead Man Switch, he let go of the generator while my perk was active, and it covered it for 35 seconds. If I swung a little earlier there, I may have hit him, but honestly, that was just one of those real nail-biting moments. Now you see, if I had kept that wall up and put my trap on that doorway he just went through instead, this chase would have ended 10 seconds ago. 10 seconds may not seem like a lot of time, but in a game Dead by Daylight, every second counts. I almost stepped into my own trap here. Woo, too close. Now, there was a Scourge hook up there, but because there was a wall, I decided, I'm too lazy to break it. I'll just throw him on a regular hook. Keep in mind, if you hook a survivor on a regular hook, but you didn't get a Scourge hook out of them, a pain resonance use, you can later hook them on a Scourge hook, and that token will be used. The token is pretty much tied to the survivor until it's used, or they die. Kate was a little too overconfident, perhaps a little ignorant, but hey, all's fair in love and war, baby. Alright. We're looking around for traps, and we're also keeping our ears open, trying to listen for generator progress. Alright. I don't have Dead Man Switch, so I'm going to go ahead and kick this generator. Every time a killer kicks a generator, survivors will then have to repair it for a slightly more amount of time before they can actually start to make more repair progress on it. I'm going to go ahead and pick up that trap because the survivors didn't see me pick it up, and because of that, they may think it's still there and ultimately avoid that area. The Steve saw that trap on that pallet towards the stairway, so he's avoiding it. This Steve is smart. Most survivors aren't. I tried to fake the trap, but he used his eyes and brains, and because of that, he's ultimately a pretty good survivor in my opinion. He knows he can't loop that pallet safely, so he found another one. But, instead of using the one pallet, even though he can't drop this one with the trap on it, he's looping around it to buy his teams even more time. He tried to go for the pallet stun on me, but I faked him with my red stain. Generally, when looping, you want to stay as close to the loop as humanly possible to minimize the overall amount of loop time. Now, sadly, the Steve had a perk called Dead Hard, which, when activated at the absolute precise moment of a killer's swing or attack, will ultimately give them a third health state. But that doesn't matter because Steve ran into my trap anyway. And I also see a Kate got into my trap, but she's too far away for it to really matter. Now, because I didn't hook this Steve on a Scourge hook yet, I will ultimately get to use one of my tokens. Boom. Even though I've already hooked him once before. Another Kate just walked right into my trap. Interesting. We're going to go ahead and hit her, and because she's already been hooked twice, the next time I throw her on a hook, she is out of the game. We have 2 gens left, and 2 survivors on death hook. Honestly, could be going worse. Not too bad. I do still have my Spirit Fury, so the next time I'm in a chase, I'll be super aggressive and try to get some value out of that. Ultimately, the game boils down to who can save the most time. The reason why Spirit Fury and Enduring, in my opinion, are so good is because of the fact that Enduring reduces your stun duration from a pallet, and Spirit Fury breaks the pallets, assuming it's activated, which it can be activated by breaking 2 pallets normally. What I'm doing here is trying to focus on securing this 3-gen. 3-gen is a term killers like myself, use to basically describe 3 generators that are in close proximity to one another, but unfortunately these survivors are actually pretty smart, and they broke the 3-gen, which is going to make me sacrificing at least 2 more of them for the win much, much, much more difficult. But not all is lost yet. We still have 1 stack of pain res, and this Meg, being a doofus, just ran in my trap. The good thing is, though, especially in indoor maps, darker indoor maps, the Trapper's traps actually blend in quite well with the environment. Dead man switch activated, and that Steve, I heard him above me, get off of the generator. Now, if survivors are smart, they can actually use dead man switch in their favor. So what I did right there is I faked my attack, and he fell for it, but I swung a little too early, and because of that, his dead hard still worked. I tried to fake the trap again, but the Steve is too intelligent. He's not a dumb one, that's for sure. I tried to get him to use my Spirit Fury, but it must be him and his teammates, or at least one, have communications. So I went ahead and placed a trap down. Now, he thought that by dropping the pallet, he could slide over the trap, but because I placed the trap outside of the pallet, that wasn't possible. I'm going to go ahead and leave them on the ground there, that's Steve's, to go see what's going on at this generator. This generator's almost done, so I'm going to go ahead and kick it, slow it down a little bit. Now, I decided to place my trap here, but ultimately this wasn't a really good idea. What I should have done is place my trap either here, in that doorway, or on the pallet. Rather, outside of the pallet. Because as you'll see, there's another pretty good pallet right here, which leads right into the pallet, into the generator room. This Meg learned from her mistake earlier. She remembers I have Spirit Fury Enduring, and because of that, I dropped chase with her. This other case here, she doesn't think I see her. I swung a little too early there, but because she had Sprint Burst, she got away. I dropped the chase with Meg because she's a good player, and the Kate wants me to get away from the generator, so I dropped the chase with her too. Ultimately, I'm in a very bad position right here. I'm going to have to make a difficult choice. Do I ultimately chase one of these survivors in the hopes that I can get one of them sacrificed, or do I focus on the generators? It's a pretty tough call. That generator's still regressing, and I still have that trap over there, so I may as well go for another survivor. I'm not hearing the Steve nearby, but the other Kate could be. I'm going to go ahead and pick up that trap, since it no longer has any use being there. Now the Meg is taunting me, and I know this, and because I know this, I'm not going to be chasing her. She wants to waste my time. The Steve is trying to complete this gen, and he's injured, but we have to remember he has Dead Hard. The Steve, having no choice, made me use my Spirit Fury, but there's another pallet here. We got very lucky. Okay. Now, I'm ultimately going to kick this gen to slow it down just a little bit more, but it may have been a better choice to ultimately keep going after the Steve, but it doesn't matter because the Steve was overconfident and ran back to taunt me, and Skidoo, she's dead. Confidence kills in this game, guys. You have to be realistic, especially as a survivor. Not so much killer. You can be a little confident as a killer, but you better be pretty good. GG's Steve. Now, this is one of the main reasons why I love Trapper, because he can actually trap exit gates. And combine this with the Bloody Coil add-on, which I'm using, if a healthy survivor disarms a trap, they become injured. Meaning, I can down them in one hit and throw them on a hook. Still have that trap there, just in case they sprint away from the exit gate. That Kate disarmed my trap on the other exit gate, so I'm going to pretend like I'm going back in the hopes that the Meg gets in my trap. She stepped in the trap. My goodness. Alright. Now, instead of picking her up, I'm going to be a little greedy. I'm going to reset the trap just in case she can pick herself up using a perk, and she rage quit. You're going to see a lot of that. And the Kate is probably going to get out. Yep, the Kate got out. But hey, we got 3 kills, which means that's technically a win. And I had everyone on death hook. Right there's the hatch. The hatch is just a little extra escape survivors can use if they're the last one in the trial. But yeah, ultimately, that's really all there is to it. I know I kind of wanted to narrate this to explain my thought process better, so you guys could get a little bit of a better idea into the competitive nature of DBD. I know not everyone takes video games as seriously, but in the higher comps, this is really how you have to think to stand a good chance. These are the kind of perks you have to use. Ultimately, I'm sure I probably missed something. If there's something you guys would like me to go over in the next tutorial I'm going to be doing for survivors, please leave a comment down below letting me know. If you liked the video, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. My friends, I will see you all in the next one. Take care. Peace.